Hey, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever time you happen to stumble across this video message. This is Patrick Lovell of the Everyman Super PAC, and I thought I'd just try to give it another go here to get your attention about what it is that I am trying to spearhead. So I want to bring you up to speed on a couple of things that have really coagulated this idea in my mind. And the first one, of course, is the Brat victory over Cantor in Virginia, which signified to me, as our tagline is said from the very beginning, that it is possible to have the many defeat the money. Anyone who followed that particular campaign or followed my thread on our Everyman Super PAC realizes that Cantor had outspent Brat 29-1, and he got spanked. That's all there is to it, because there was a lot of people that are just disgusted with the system and are ready to revolt. I think that the playing field is dry kindling all over this country that's just waiting for the match to light it, and we have an opportunity to turn things around if we can actually galvanize and get people on the same page. So many of you know I made this film called F13, Waking Up the American Dream. It has always been prologue to the Everyman Super PAC. The Everyman Super PAC was initiated originally to just do one thing and one thing only, and that was to end money in politics. However, as those of you who have seen my threads the last few days, there's really more to it than that, because while money is the core of the problem, it's what pays for all of these things to manifest themselves, which has created what I realize is the problem overall. We live at a time where our society is crumbling right before our eyes, and the old paradigm needs an absolute reboot to the entire system. Now, please understand what I'm saying here. I'm not saying this thing is going to happen overnight. I'm saying we need to be in a position to actually create new policy and legislation that's smart, that's built in technology and entrepreneurial spirit, and the principles of our founding. I believe in free markets, I believe in democracy, and I believe an informed United States citizenry can get behind something that's in our best interest. And what's in our best interest? Well, is it to go to Iraq and get involved with another quagmire conflict that I actually supported originally to do what? To basically maintain oil supplies for the rest of the world. For what purpose? So that we can have a globalized setting, so that we can maintain our disposition towards having manufactured goods in Asia, as well as cheap Middle Eastern oil and all the rest of it. The problem is the paradigm has to change. We have to reset the button on everything, because it all ends and begins in Congress, the people's house, because those are the people, those are the politicians that write policy that enable the situation that has happened, the situation that has created the greatest disparity of wealth since the Great Depression, that enabled the con and the fraud of the 2008 implosion that led to trillions of dollars of evaporated wealth, that have since replaced that wealth in the top 1%, and literally not one person has gone to jail. It's disgusting, and I can't sleep at night because it pisses me off so bad. We have the opportunity to create a Manhattan-like project to replace the grid, which is 50 years out of date. And in the technology and the buildup and everything else, it's going to take 40 years to recreate, maybe 65 years, but there's no time to waste, because our economy is in the shitter, the climate change is real, and a bunch of yahoos that either support a bunch of rich people that are screwed the rest of us are in charge, or people that are just completely insane, people that want to blame the collapse of the middle class on immigration. Are you kidding me? Has anyone ever seen what's happened with box stores and Walmart and what Congress has been promulgating for really decades? It's all about free trade. And look, I don't want to be an isolationist. I believe that globalism can actually work when smart people commingle and we get things together. But all countries should, quite frankly, try to be somewhat responsible to themselves. Meaning, in the United States, we need to be able to produce what we consume, first and foremost. And we have to have a government that basically enables this sort of situation where we re-incentivize investment in the United States, such as tax code. Look, if we're going to have capital gains, let's have some capital gains on recreating manufacturing base in the United States. We can't manufacture in the United States. Have you seen what Elon Musk has been able to achieve with Tesla? He's got 90% of that vehicle produced in the United States, and it's creating a upwardly mobile middle class that can consume. That's the idea of the middle class, people. We cannot maintain a civilization where billionaires, literally 400 billionaires or families, have the same net worth than 150 million Americans. Is this about the war on wealth, or of course not, man. What we're talking about is common sense. If people have the ability to consume, then we have the ability to create and the ability able to educate. Everything is just simply upside down. We need an incredible reboot, and we need to do it now. So all of this is basically transpiring to give you a face, to look you in the eyes and say, I am trying to create a people-funded tour of our film, Ford13.com. Why? I should say Ford13thefilm.com. Why? Because I know what happens when we get people that are on the other side of the system, or that don't know how to add up what's going on, and they get into theaters and they see the film and they're dumbstruck. They're like, holy shit, that's what's going on? What can I do about it? Well, exactly. That's why it's prologue to the Everyman Super PAC. And ultimately, the Everyman Super PAC, like I said at the outset, was designed to just be a one-dimensional sort of, let's get the tumor fixed and then we can try to fix everything else. I don't think there's any time. We got to be able to fix it all based on common sense solutions that are based on our principles and decency, quite frankly. It's got to be an answer to all of the insanity that's occurring out there in the marketplace that doesn't speak for me, and I suspect it doesn't speak for you. So at the end of the day, the idea of the tour is to be able to go out there and also get people speaking, and then ahead of time, try to make people aware that we're coming, to get people on camera, to be able to become candidates for the Everyman Super PAC platform. And we're going to need research people to identify what races are not being challenged right now, where incumbents should really get kicked out, or in other areas where people might be just as sick as they were in the Cantor scenario, to be able to overturn the incumbent. And then also we have to counter the extremists on both sides, quite frankly, because what I'm proselytizing here is common sense and decency, straightforward. There's nothing else to it than that, because I'm an independent business guy. I know the idea of margins and profits, and when we have CEOs of this country continually making their profit margins based on the demise of this country, that's when we've got to put a line in the sand and say enough is enough. This has gone on for far too long. Think about what happened with the financial calamity of 2008. Think about what continues to happen with the calamity of the fossil fuel paradigm, which should have been overturned 30 years ago. Those are a few of some of the ideas that we're putting forward. But if you support our tour and you get involved, I mean, think about it. Are we going to win? Fat chance. Is it a pipe dream? Absolutely. But get a load of the circumstances. First of all, the founders did not envision a two-party system and career politicians. They didn't think that's what the country was going to be based on. In fact, what did Jefferson say? That the tree of liberty had to be refreshed from time to time with the blood of tyrants and patriots. Well, I am a patriot. And the bottom line is, I believe that we can have an intellectual and a consumer revolution without spilling a drop of blood. And let me tell you how satisfying it would be for me, someone who was a victim of the 2008 implosion. And quite frankly, I shouldn't have gotten into a house to begin with. If you saw the film, you realize I didn't come with all of those sorts of variables that we used to be able to, at least create the success of the housing model, because you were coming, with 20% down. You were coming with longevity in a position, because at that time in the 60s to 70s, people actually spent their careers working for one company because they could move upward in that company before, of course, we outsourced and outshored everything that happens with this country. It's ridiculous. It's got to end. Everybody knows it, but there's only one way to do it, and that's if we step up and step up now. Really, our future of ourselves, our immediate future, and the future of our children depends on it. I know what I'm talking about. I know I'm not the only one. I know there's millions of people out there that believe this, and I also know there's probably thousands of people out there that are a hell of a lot smarter than I am with the specific sort of pillars that I have set up that I would love to see run, that can actually potentially win. You never know. I've seen it would be a miracle. But at the same time, why not try to stimulate a dialogue that's going to light a fire under the ass of America, because we have got to wake up the American dream, and that has been my mission all along. Please go to Indiegogo. Please give us what you can. Come on, $10, $5, whatever. We're trying to raise 100 grand to get this thing kickstarted, and I promise you, if we get this kickstarted, I will get national media on this that will give us $20 million, if not more, worth of publicity to get more people to the fold, because guess what? They just don't know we exist. We've got to break through the white noise to make the connection with America and turn the USS Titanic around before it's too late. You know why I'm doing it? I'm doing it for that kid. And I'm doing it for my wife, and I'm doing it for you, and I'm doing it for me, because I happen to believe in the dream and the ideals of this country, and I do not believe that we should sit on our hands with our heads in the sand and allow this absolute nightmare to continue destroying us. Thank you. I'm your friend Patrick Lovell. Please join us today. Peace out, my friends. Peace.